I'm Alessandra Barrett, Senior Content Editor for JOC. I'm at our Inland Distribution Conference in Memphis, and I'm joined by Donna Lem, Vice President of Mallory Alexander. Thanks for speaking with me today, Donna.
Thanks, Allie. My pleasure.
How's Mallory Alexander's 2016 been? What are the highlights there?
You know, it's been a really good year, and it's been a real interesting year. So much has happened, goodness, in terms of Solus, Zika, weather, so many challenges that we face this year. But as a company, we had tremendous growth, especially in our distribution area. We opened several new distribution centers here in Memphis. We have a new distribution center in Dallas and a new distribution in Miami. And it's actually a foreign trade zone that we operate down in Miami. So it's a whole new trade lane for us, and we're very excited. We did some fun things. We got our Class A license in China, and we also had a really wonderful alignment with ODFL and an agreement. We are basically their backroom operation, and we do their customs clearance, and that has been a whole new wonderful opportunity for Mallory and for ODFL. And so those are just some of the highlights. It's been a very good year, despite some of the challenges, and also, as you know, our core competency is forwarding and exports, and exports have certainly been hit this year. The strong dollar, and we have seen it, we have felt it, and we've done our best to diversify and really offer our other services for the growth that I'm talking about today.
Now, your work, you're representing a lot of exporters. What can you tell me about the Hanjin experience for you all?
The Hanjin experience was very, very difficult, I'll tell you. And, there's the immediate shock that sets in, and then you immediately go into action. And I will tell you, for our team, just being able to, because again, as a major U.S. forwarder, we had many exporters who used Hanjin. So we had Hanjin boxes not only on the water, but we had Hanjin boxes that were caught and trapped in inland locations or at our terminals and our ports. And so the first difficulty was just trying to find out where our boxes were for our customers. And then once we found out where they were, how are we going to get our cargo out of those Hanjin boxes? And so I'll tell you, it was fascinating. Not only stranded vessels, but once, let's say, we discharged in Busan and could get our hands on those boxes. The difficulty and the challenge was to convert the bill of lading so that we could ultimately change the destination, in that case, to Busan. So the human element, of finding those Hanjin workers that were still there, those documentation team folks. And there were people, and you have to admire, who stayed till the bitter end just to help out and service their customers. And this is not finished. We still have many boxes that are still stranded. We had boxes and still have boxes that are stranded here in the United States. And we would have thought initially those first couple of days that perhaps the challenge may have been easier because the boxes were on U.S. shores. But there was so much difficulty as those boxes began stockpiling to get them out, let's just say, out of the rail or out of the terminal, paying the container fees, paying the inland fees. And so there was just a host of issues that came to the forefront, and every day you came to work, there was a new issue. So we struggled through it, and certainly I've been in the business a long time. This was one of the biggest things that I've certainly ever experienced.
You've been very vocal on the Solus mandate. Can you talk to me about the lessons learned there?
Sure. So this was a group effort. Certainly Mallory representing major and smaller U.S. exporters, very important to us, but also a huge exporter voice. We came together collectively under AgTC, and the lessons learned at the end of the day was the U.S. ag and forest product voice, the exporter voice, matters. And one of the things that at the IMO, while this amendment may have passed at the IMO, they had to recognize that they had to defer to national laws and rules and regulations. In the United States, we would have carriers say, well, you're not the problem. Well, if we're not the problem, why are we doing this? But at the end of the day, we do have U.S. laws that basically hold us and bind us to tell the truth on our gross weights. That was acknowledged. And at the end, too, even the rail weights that we submit under the Intermodal Safety Act was acknowledged. The lesson, each nation has its own laws, And when we have these global implications of these global regulatory changes, we have to respect and honor. And in the United States, honor the laws that exist today. And the second thing is that our geographies are so different. So as we have a smaller and smaller global carrier base, and these global headquarters are far from U.S. shores, we ask the carriers and us as shippers to remember the huge volume that we move here, the huge geography that we move here, the IPI loads, and how different some of the things that we do in the United States and the modes of transport and getting our goods to ports. And also, it's the need for communication, and it goes both ways. I can tell you, even with our own internal organizations, communicating the changes in SOLAS effectively for each and every office. The communication that once we even had a SOLAS understanding and an agreement by OSEMA members, carriers, to honor the U.S. Coast Guard Bulletin by July 1. We kept sending these SOLAS bulletins back to their carriers, their own bulletins back, days after the announcements, weeks after, and even months after. And so I think we can all do a better job at communicating, especially these very, very important issues to each other, and also the recognition of our different landscapes and geographies, and then finally and most importantly, the laws that have to be honored that exist here in the United States.
Thank you, as always, for your time, Donna.
Oh, you're welcome.
I've been speaking with Donna Lem, Vice President of Mallory Alexander.